Greetings all, and welcome back to another episode of My Week in Horror. I am the Artie Dance. This is my channel, and this is my weekly show, where we showcase 4 horror movies throughout Asia, but sometimes we don't go to Asia, sometimes we look elsewhere. But tonight's episode is all Asian movies. 2 fairly new ones, one still newish, and one a little bit old. So let's have a look at tonight's lineup. From 2022 and Japan, Sadako DX. From 2022, Indonesia's Inang, or The Womb. From a couple years ago, from Japan, Howling Village. And we're going to look at a Chinese horror movie from 2015 called Admission by Guts. Interesting lineup, especially that last one, Admission by Guts. But first up, we're going to check out Sadako DX. Now, contrary to what a lot of people said about this movie, I had a good time with it. Because I didn't take it seriously. I'm not a massive Ring fan, Sadako fan, so I'm not obsessed with every tiny bit of the lore. So when Sadako decides to have a bit of fun, or when the filmmaker decides to have a bit of fun with Sadako, I have a bit of fun too. So let's check out the synopsis for Sadako DX. Ayaka is a highly intelligent graduate student with an IQ of 200 and a very peculiar habit of twitching her ears like a bat to concentrate. She's also highly strung and gets scared at the drop of a hat. Challenged by a psychic about the cursed video which is causing sudden deaths around Japan, she starts to investigate how to stop the curse when she saves another highly strung individual, Oji, from committing suicide. Alongside the assistance of a mysterious internet fan with a cat face, Aya has 24 hours to solve the new curse of Sadako before it takes the life of her sister and, in fact, everyone around her. So Sadako movies have kind of evolved over the past 20 years. We've gone from 7 days to that thing-wind Sadako, the last Sadako movie, that 3D one, where it was 2 days that she was killing people. And then Sadako versus Kayako. I can't even remember how long that one was, but I actually like that movie. So now we've got Sadako DX, and now she kills in 24 hours. She has been super upgraded for the digital, and more importantly, for the short attention span generation. Sadako DX is a lot of fun, and I don't care what anyone says about the fact that it is a silly, crappy movie. It is silly. The whole point of the movie is it is a comedy horror. It actually is a comedy horror. There is very little scary bits in it, and it never intends at all to be a scary film. In fact, it's taking the piss out of a lot of stuff. I thought it was taking the piss out of things like the pandemic and the vaccine and the way that people overreacted to things and the way that, getting the vaccine and otherwise the virus is going to spread and kill everyone. Because essentially that's what it is. Now that it's a 24-hour virus and it's been uploaded onto the internet, there is nothing to stop Sadako from killing everyone. So Ayaka has to, try and work out within 24 hours how to stop it. Interesting about this Sadako movie is that Sadako's not actually in it. Well, she kind of is in it. She's in it towards the end. But this movie takes the people's, or the cast members' characters' fears of other things and uses them as the replacement for Sadako. So, for example, her sister sees her uncle who's in the hospital as someone who's following her around instead of seeing Sadako. And I kind of like that. I thought, it's cool. We've got a little bit of an upgrade on what Sadako does. Now, it is a comedy horror, and it's a well-done comedy horror. The movie does not take itself seriously. It constantly takes the piss out of itself, and it takes the piss out of its characters too. The main character is a fruitcake, and she knows it when she does this thing when she's concentrating, and she gets scared at the mascot at the university all the time, and then you've got that really cool psychic who's clearly a fake. I mean, everyone knows he's a fake. Even he knows he's a fake. Trying to stop this curse of Sadako and fails miserably. It is a fun film. I really liked it. The plot is silly. The characters are silly. It is not a serious horror film. If you want to watch a serious horror film, I was going to suggest Karada Sagashi. But even then, that's not a full-on horror film. So maybe check out Kisaragi Station if you want serious horror. But if you just want to sit down and have some goddamn fun with a movie and not be so up your own ass that, oh my god, this movie is so terrible because it's Sadako and this is a ring. You know what? Fuck off. You're an idiot. Just enjoy the goddamn film if you're going to act like that, or go watch something else. Sadako DX. Using my patent pending ghost rating, which stands for, as you know, great horror or stupid trash. While it's a great film and I liked it, it's still probably not worth more than 3 ghosts. Let's just quickly check my notes. I'm pretty sure, 3 ghosts. I actually said 3.5, but I don't give halves. So it's a 3 ghost film because it is fun. It is a scary movie type movie without all the crude scary movie type humor. You're supposed to laugh. That's the point of the film. You're supposed to be able to reflect the things that have happened in the world over the last couple of years in the Sadako world. That is the point of the film. Don't take it so goddamn seriously. Don't think it's going to be a sequel to The Ring 2. And it's definitely better than Sadako 3D. So Sadako DX, 3 stars. Go watch it right away. If you can find it. With English subtitles. On to the next film. So what made last episode a little strange, even though it was all smutty films, was that we didn't have an Indonesian movie. And Indonesian horror, I'm getting far too deep into Indonesian horror lately, and I'm actually really enjoying it. There's still some great Indonesian horror movies from last year, 2022, that we haven't spoken about yet, and I'm looking forward to talking about them. But this is one that is really good. This is called Inang, or it's known on, I think, Netflix as The Womb. Let's check out what it's about. Wulan is stuck in a cycle of poverty, and to make it worse, she's 16 weeks pregnant to a man who wants nothing to do with the child. Desperate, she joins a Facebook group for expectant mothers and is contacted by a mysterious man who claims to have found a couple who wants to adopt her child. The deal gets even better. For the months leading up to the birth, they are willing to let her live in their house and look after her. However, their son arrives back from Singapore, and combined with some suspicions that Wulan was developing about the couple, they uncover that something very sinister involving ancient black magic and superstitions is going on. So this is another Indonesian horror movie that uses the kind of superstitions, black magic kind of things. But we're not set in a village this time. This time we're set in a city, even though when she gets taken away by the couple, they're clearly in the countryside. But they're not in a village setting. So this is set in a city. And this movie shows a very refreshing view of Indonesia in regards to specifically poverty and the struggles of the way people can survive in the city. And there's no push on religion on this one, which is really, really good. There's no obsession with the 5 times a day praying. There's no obsession with church, with God, any of that shit. It is a movie about people and about how fucked up things are and about how fucked up a life can be and how you're just trying to drag yourself out of poverty as best as you can. And it opens up a window to, premarital sex, to unwanted pregnancies, and stuff like that. That's cool. And that's, again, it's one of the reasons I really, really like this film. So it's a 2-hour-long film. If you're a pure horror purist, does that make sense? But, if you're a horror purist, you might be thinking there's not a lot of scary shit in this film. And it builds up the movie really well. For 2 hours, it's a really engaging, I think, a really engaging film. You glue to your screen for the entire time. Because it builds up the story and it builds up towards the horror. What I mean is that, in the first 10 minutes, you're not seeing some djinn in a forest hunting some pregnant woman down and killing her. That's not what you're getting in this film. You're starting off with Wulan and her story. And there's a lot of symbolism in this film, which is really awesome. A lot of people who don't like the film don't pick up on the symbolism, but it is there clearly in the background. There's stuff like the stuffed tiger, and a bit where the 2 people and this other guy who's like a black magician, are standing in the same frame as them. So all four, and it gives off this whole kind of, four predators vibes. And the camera flips back around to show Wulan sitting on a couch, kind of cowering back over these four predators or looking over the top of it. That's really awesome. There's great symbolism there. There's also something that I missed when I first watched it, but was editing the review on the Asian Film Fans channel when I saw it, was a lot of things. There's a lot of chess pieces used throughout the movie as well. Specifically, pawns and knights are used at one stage along a picture frame, a picture shelf. Loved it. All of that iconography. And there's even more when she has these weird dreams, when she starts to dream of this Minotaur type character, which is never really explained, unfortunately, but I like that. I think that was really cool. Now, I don't want to spoil the film because I really do think you should watch it if you're after a slow burn, out of the ordinary type of horror film. This one is fantastic. And another movie that you can add to Indonesia's pile of knocking it out of the park in 2022. And I also said that if it wasn't for Satan Slaves 2, this easily would have been my favorite Indonesian horror film from 2022. So please check out Inang. Using the ghost rating, great horror or stupid trash, I love the film. It's still not 5 ghosts though, but it is 4. It is a 4 ghost film every day of the week. That puts it at the same level as Satan Slaves 2. You've got great symbolism, great characters, a realistic type story, a great setting, and a movie that's explained all the way through. Even when... because I don't want to spoil it for you. So everything is explained. Even all the way right up towards the end of the film when the credits roll, everything's explained and you do get a bit of a backstory. Now, I did have a discussion with someone on the Asian Film Fans channel in the comments section about whether a lot of the scenarios were actually real or coincidental. So I suppose those aren't really discussed, but they're left ambiguous enough for you to decide on your own. So please, I'm begging you, check out Inang from Indonesia. It is a 4 ghost movie and I think you'll love it. Now, on to the first of our crappy films. Well, it wouldn't be a My Week in Horror episode without some crappy horror films. And while last week's didn't really have any crappy horror films, at least I don't think so. We were looking at Smart. This one, I got a lot of hate for a couple of years ago when I released my first review on this channel, on the Artie Dan's channel, about this film. And I remember posting it around to a couple of horror forums for Japanese movies, and people were pretty vicious. Then I noticed the demographic of the people who were telling me about this, and they were all very young, which goes to make sense because these are the same people who thought the movie Lord 2 was terrific, which was pretty shit. Anyway, this is The Howling Village. It is the first of Takashi Shimizu's Village trilogy of horror movies. We looked already at Oxhead Village. Have we? Maybe not. We haven't. I don't remember. We will look at Oxhead Village. We definitely haven't looked at Suicide Forest Village. So this is the first one in the series, Howling Village. Let's check out the synopsis. Yuma and his girlfriend Akina are out one night hoping to come across the Inanuki village. Following the rules of a ritual that allows entry, they make it into the secret village, but something attacks Akina. She goes crazy and ends up killing herself. Yuma's sister, Kanata, is a child psychologist, and while treating her latest patient, she discovers she has the ability to see spirits, an ability that's inflicted upon all the females in the family. Yuma then tries to go back to the village to find out why Akina went crazy, and gets stuck in the village alongside his younger brother, who has been researching the village for a school project. Kanata is then visited by the spirit from the village, who leads her back to save her brothers and to discover the horrible truths behind the village and its inhabitants. I will probably spoil this film if I can remember it because it's shit. This movie was fucking terrible. And the reason I thought it was terrible is it just... Why? Why was it terrible? It had annoying characters. I had a girlfriend called Akina, and then this movie has an Akina, and so, you know, I was kind of cheering on the bad stuff. That's bad of me. I shouldn't say that. And she's an annoying character in the movie, and she was an annoying person in real life. The movie doesn't have anything that I found enjoyable because once it got to explaining the village, and the clue is in the title, Howling Village, there seems to be some motif about dogs and an electric company that apparently I didn't get. That apparently went right over my head, and I didn't quite get the links to everything, blah, blah, blah. It was such a great horror movie. Japanese, modern day, urban legend. Fuck it. Maybe it's one of those internet things that, you know, for those people who spend 23 hours of their day on the internet looking at stuff, maybe they get right into it and understand that kind of stuff. For the rest of us who just wanted a decent horror film, especially from Takashi Shimizu, we didn't get it at all. We didn't get it at all. There was nothing scary. There was no tension. There was just annoying characters. But there was good visuals. Actually, I'll give it that much. It had good visuals, and it had a pretty decent opening scene. I liked the whole bit about the phone booth and waiting for the phone call, and then that was the entrance into the village. But then when the movie tries to explain what happened, again with the electric company and the dogs and all this other kind of forced breeding shit, and then, you know, I accused the movie of being some kind of furries wet dream kind of thing, because people seem to be dressed as dogs and having sex, but apparently I was all wrong. So there you go. That doesn't cloud my opinion of the fact that I still think the movie was shit. But what is interesting is I would like to know what you think. If you've seen The Howling Village, leave me a comment, because I have desperately tried to understand why people like this film, and it's not, people cannot explain it to me well, and thus it doesn't click about why it should be a good film. So I really need someone who's coherent, intelligent, and able to put together a sentence that reads well to explain to me why I should give the film another chance. And if you can explain it to me, I'll give the film another chance and I'll re-review it if I enjoyed it. So there's your challenge to you. If you're a fan of The Howling Village and you think I should give it another shot because what I've said about it is not good, explain it to me. So using the ghost rating, great horror, stupid trash, I don't think it's a 1 ghost film. I don't think it's a 2 ghost film. So that means it's a 1.5 ghost film. But since we don't give halves, I'm going with the lesser and I'm giving it 1 ghost. That's really cruel. Sorry. But it was shit. I didn't enjoy it. And all that movie did was tell me that 2020 was a terrible year for horror. Thanks, COVID. Fuck you. On to the last movie of the episode. So this is an interesting one, because the reason that it's made this episode is because I literally did watch it recently, hence the title, My Week in Horror. Because I've recorded a full movie commentary for this movie, which I've uploaded onto the channel. So if you're interested to watch the movie with me, it's an hour and 20 minutes long with my stupid commentary alongside of it. We can sit there together and take the piss out of the film. Please do it. There'll be a link. I think YouTube puts the links there. Yeah. To the movie there, and maybe check the description as well. I might pop one in there. To this film. So it's called Admission by Guts. It is a Chinese horror film from 2012, set in a cinema. Sorry. This was actually recommended by a long-time viewer of the channel a very long time ago when I looked at the movie Haunted Cinema 2, which I really liked. And he said, oh, the plot of that one reminds me of this one, and there are some similarities between them. And initially, you know what? Let's get into the synopsis first, and then we'll talk about the film. 9 movie lovers receive a mysterious phone call advising them of a competition they've won. The prize ticket is to an exclusive movie screening. These 9 random people are made up of a variety of characters. There is a blind woman and her husband who narrates everything to her. There's a psychic and his friend who spend their time grifting people, although his ability seems fairly legit. There's a snack-loving chubby woman, a beautiful woman who can't get over her boyfriend, a playboy who thinks he's hot stuff, and the two most interesting characters. One is a businessman who's looking for someone with the codename Monkey King, while the other is a bootlegger who has brought a video camera to the cinema to make illegal copies of the movie they're about to watch. The movie they are set to watch seems to be a very boring arty-farty silent movie. They notice the film seems to be set in the exact same cinema they're watching the film in. As the movie progresses, they start to notice that the things that are happening to them are being shown on the big screen, and slowly but surely, each member of the audience ends up dead, either at the hands of each other or a female ghost that is stalking them as they watch. Now, I remember initially when this movie was recommended to me and I sat there and watched it and I thought, wow, this was a really good horror thriller. And I made a video about it saying that there was a really good horror thriller. And I think it's even featured in some of my 5 Chinese horror movies that don't suck videos. Chinese horror movies being some of the worst horror movies ever made. But rewatching it for the commentary that I did a couple of nights ago really made me understand that the movie was terrible. Really fucking terrible. Really fucking terrible. And it comes down to a lack of atmosphere. Yeah, I'm going to call it a lack of atmosphere. The movie's too long. Even at 80 minutes, it's too long. There's a lot of times where just nothing happens in the film. People just watching this movie on the screen that they're supposed to be interested in, but no one seems to ever be fucking interested in the movies they go to watch in cinemas. So that actually frustrated me. And I remember going through the commentary thinking, God damn it, the walls are fucking grimy. There's a scene in the bathroom where everything just looks disgusting. You wouldn't touch it. You'd go in there with fucking bleach and bleach everything down, or you'd probably just go in and burn the whole place down, to be honest. There is a ghost. There's a ghost in a Chinese horror movie. There is a ghost that looks like Sadako, white dress, long hair, that is slowly creeping around the auditorium, doing things to people. And in typical Chinese horror movie style, it is revealed that it is not a ghost. Now, I don't want to spoil the film for you, even though it's terrible. So I think you should watch my audio commentary about it and laugh along and definitely drop comments. And maybe we do them live so that we can all get in together and do live comments. That would be fun. This movie came about because of an original movie back in 2014 called Haunted Cinema, which was fairly good. So then this movie was made in response to it. And then, of course, the sequel to Haunted Cinema was made, which kind of takes a little bit from Admission by Guts. Now, one thing I really loved about the movie was the title. In fact, the only thing I loved about the movie was the title, Admission by Guts, because I always thought it had a double entendre meaning that either, Guts being brave in Australia, that it takes a brave person to go watch the movie. So you're, admission by guts, admission to the cinema, admission because you're brave. But also the fact that it could also be looked at that the movie cost you your guts. So, your stomach, the guts inside it, that the admission price was your guts. Either way, the movie's still not good. And it's a bit unfortunate because it's actually really decently acted. It's got a couple of dodgy special effects in it, but otherwise it needed a bit more. It needed a bit of oomph, and it definitely needed more ghost. Needed far more ghost. So using the ghost rating, which stands for Great Horror or Stupid Trash, it's a 2 ghost film. And you're saying, but Dan, you said it was shit. Why are you giving it 2 ghosts? Because if I looked at it as a thriller and not a horror movie, it's probably worth that extra ghost. But if I'm looking at it as a pure horror film, it's not good at all. And the ending is not satisfying either. So I'm going to redo the rating and give it 1 ghost. So I don't know how I'm going to fix that in edit, but I'll fix that in edit. 1 ghost. The movie is 1 ghost. I'm sorry. It's been 3 years since I watched it. I watched it again. I gave it another chance. I disliked it. Thank you for watching this episode of My Week in Horror. We've looked at two great films, Sadako DX and Inang, and we've looked at two shithouse films, Howling Village and Admission by Guts. Drop some comments below for more movies that we should be checking out. I still have some from previous episodes that I need to watch, need to find first, but I appreciate you hanging around and watching this video all the way to the end. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. If you liked it, please give me a like, drop a comment, all that other shit that YouTubers ask you to do. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in either a commentary or in next week's episode. Thank you again.